Snow White. "We don't have any apples, and I was planning to make a delicious apple pie for dessert." Doc rubbed his belly. "Pie?" he said. "Leave it to us, we'll pick you all the apples you want." "Why, thank you," Snow White said. "I'll need 10 apples for the pie." Happy was the first to return. "Here you go," he said with a giggle. "1 apple! Wonderful! Happy!" Snow White said. "I'll see that you get the very first slice of pie." The next apple came from Sneezy. "Achoo," he said with a sneeze. "I picked it myself, but I think it's achoo making me sneeze." "Thank you," said Snow White. "Now I have 2 apples for the pie." Apple number 3 came from Doc. "Here's a pie for the apple," he said. An apple for the pie." Snow White smiled. "You can put it on the counter with others, Doc," she said. It took Snow White a moment to notice that Bashful had returned. "Oh, Leo," she said. "Did you bring an apple for the pie?" Bashful nodded shyly. "Here it is." "That makes 4, Doc said, counting the apples carefully. Okay, Grumpy said, stomping into the kitchen. "Here's your darn apple." "Apple number 5. "Thank you so much, Grumpy," Snow White said, giving him a kiss. "Oh, shucks," he muttered. "It was not in—" "Sorry I'm late," Sleepy mumbled. Rubbing his eyes, "I dozed off under the apple tree for a while." "That's quite all right," Snow White said. "The important thing is you've brought us apple number 6. Dopey ran into the kitchen. He tripped over the dewsill and his apple bounced out of his hand. "Look out! Frying fruit?" Doc cried. "Air, that is flying fruit." "Wonderful, everyone," Snow White said. "But we still only have 7 apples. I need 3 more for the pie." "Let's go, gang," Doc said. "Time to get more apples." Dopey grinned and shook his head with a flourish. He reached into his left pocket and pulled out an apple. "Hooray, Dopey!" Snow White cried. "That makes 8 apples." "Humph," Drumpy said. "Doesn't sound so wonderful to me. We're still 2 apples short." Dopey shook his head again. Then he dug into his right pocket and pulled out another apple. 9 apples, Happy said with a chuckle. "I don't suppose you've got number 10 under your hat, do you, Dopey?" With a bigger grin than ever, Dopey whipped off his cap. Balanced on his head were not 1 but 2 apples. "Number 10, Doc said. And number 11. That's too many apples." Dopey looked worried, but Snow White smiled. "Don't worry, Dopey," she said. "This won't go to waste." She bit into the crunchy fruit. "I just can't resist a good apple,